Tell us your name and tell us about your project.
Well, my name is Robert Wilson, and I'm a radio astronomer. I was in charge of the horn reflector antenna. The horn reflector was at first state of the art. However, while it was being built, technologies advanced and new things were discovered. So, as soon as it was finished, it became obsolete. This is when me and my partner moved in and began our own research with the antenna.
What were you guys trying to do or find?
Well, we were testing the brightness of the sky and analyzing radio signals from the spaces between galaxies, such as stars.
Where did the project or experiment occur?
The antenna is in a small town of Homedale, New Jersey, at the station that the Bell Laboratories built. It's a very small town, less than 10,000 people at the time.
What other significant events were happening around the world at that time?
Well, this happened throughout the 1960s. The building of the antenna and our research and figuring out what everything meant. During that time, that was a really progressive time in the United States of America. You had JFK being elected president in 1960, followed by his assassination. That was a huge time for civil rights movements, such you had like voting rights, free speech, higher education, and that's when all the minimum wage acts came in to light, and that's what we see now. And it was actually during the heart of the Vietnam War, right, along the Tet Offensive, was when we made our big breakthrough.
Who else was involved in the project?
Um, my lifelong partner, German Arnold Penzias, and uh, throughout we made the experiment together, and we couldn't have done it without um, Robert Dick, whose findings actually led to led his findings actually led to us putting everything together, which was the most important part.
What was your role in the project?
Um, we really shared equal roles, but you could say that I assisted in the operation of the antenna, and I also helped qualify our findings by some of my schooling and research that I had done prior.
What impact did your project have on the physics community?
Well, this is one of the biggest physics findings that we've had, in the last 100 or so years, and what it really did was it basically proved the Big Bang theory, or was a very leading cause to it being true. And um, what we weren't the first to discover this noise, which sounded like much like it was like a static noise, and we actually heard it. We thought something was wrong with our equipment, so uh, it was actually by accident that we ended up hearing. We weren't the first people to hear this noise. Um, it actually been heard before in a couple different experiments dealing with space, but we were the first people to actually, along with Mr. Dick's findings, we put two and two together and uh, ended up figuring out what that noise was that we actually heard.
What were some problems you ran into along the way?
Well, when we first heard the noise, uh, our main goal was to like figure out what was wrong, because we figured something was wrong. We had a constant static. We were constantly hearing static. So we started trying to rule things out as scientists, and we tried a couple different things, and we pointed the antenna at New York. We figured we could be getting some urban interference, but that wasn't the case. And then there's a military base nearby. We also tried aiming it there. Still no change. So we went out and actually investigated the telescope itself, or the antenna itself, and living inside of the antenna were actually tons of pigeons. So me and my partner actually took a shotgun and shot the pigeons and cleared all the pigeons out. And after that, we there was still no change. So then we said, well, it's obviously something in space. There could be nothing else. So that's what led to our findings.